These are the components to make an Oldhammer, I believe they call it, but an old school metal Chaos Dreadnought, which nowadays goes by the name of a Helbrute. It's basically the same thing. My Chaos Space Marine army is called the Ironbone Lords, and the theme behind them is that every single miniature has to start off with an Oldhammer metal mini. It's as simple as that. The reason I'm doing that is so I can't just go out and buy, you know, the latest overpowered plastic kit that comes out for the Chaos Space Marines. Okay, it has to be something that exists as a metal miniature, or something that I can convert from a metal miniature. You get the idea. But I don't want to just use the metal miniature as it is. I always like to convert them at least a little bit. And what I'm thinking is, what if I make it so it has flames? I mean, okay, so that, for example, that's just a normal Space Marine, not a Chaos Space Marine, but a normal Space Marine power plant. What if I make it so it's like overpowered and there's like flames coming out of it? Like the Power Scourge as well, maybe there's flames coming off of that. In fact, there could be flames all over it. It could be like, you know, Ghost Rider. That's my idea. I'm going to have it so flames are sprouting out everywhere. I reckon that's going to look really cool. This bottle's nearly out of glue now, so I'm just using the last dregs before I move on to the other bottle. Back in the day, a friend of mine used to play Chaos Space Marines, and I always thought the Power Scourge looked kind of weird, kind of dorky. It just sort of like, you know, pointed out there at a weird angle. And I realised it's because what he did, and what I've seen a lot of people do on pictures, is they just stick it on. And it's like, it's really rigid. But now I've actually got my own version of the model, I realise it's actually meant to be a claw. So it's like a hand that's reaching round. So what I've done is I've just sort of twisted it gently, just to try and emphasise that hand that little bit more. You can live there. It's also part of the theme of my army that all of the miniatures have like a skull or bones or skeletons or something that they're carrying as like trophies of war. Now, this Dreadnought has like a kind of a little skull there, but it looks kind of cartoonish. I want it to look a little bit more realistic, so I'm going to replace that. Just going to use one of the good old Citadel boxer skulls. I decided to go for an orc skull in the end. It needs something on this side. I think I'm going to do like a skeleton on this side, like he's got, you know, the body of some enemy chained to him, got the permanent trophy of some foe that is defeated in battle. I decided in the end it looked better on this side. Because the plasma cannon already has a chain sculpted onto it, I just put a little bit of chain onto the skeleton so that it looks like he's actually, you know, chained to the actual plasma cannon. So with the grenade launcher or smoke launcher and the skeleton, it really balances out the Power Scourge on the other side. Claw! Well, it's been a pretty straightforward build so far. I'm just going to put some pins in on top of the exhausts now, so then I can sculpt with green stuff some flames coming up out of them. What I'm going to try to do is just make a kind of a tube and kind of half flatten it, so then I can twist it and it will hopefully make a spiral shape. You know, it shouldn't be perfect, it's not a rope or anything like that. It's just to kind of show like the flame is bursting out and it's spinning around like a whirlwind vortex, but you know, when you get flame in it and you get like a fiery vortex, that's the kind of thing I'm going for. Just using the tweezers to, tweeze it into shape. I brought the green stuff down a little bit as well, so it does look like it's coming out of the exhaust, you know, bursting out of the sides rather than just shooting up at the top. Round and round over and over again, and just add more and more texture. The more texture that you add, the more it looks like it's wild and chaotic. I just made that up, but it sounds right. Of course, once I paint it and it's got, you know, the bright yellows and oranges in there, that'll do half the work. Now I need to put some on the Power Scourge. Green stuff is a little bit sticky, but it's not always sticky enough to stick. So I'm just going to put a little bit of super glue on where I want the flames to actually come out, and then I can stick the green stuff directly on to the super glue while the green stuff's uncured. A little bit coming up there first of all, and then get the green stuff stuck straight in, and just like that it sticks. Perfect. I think I'm going to put it on a lot of the joints actually. That seems like a natural place for the flames to be shooting out. Of course, once you've got some green stuff stuck on, it's easy to stick more green stuff on top of the existing green stuff. You know, I think I might actually have the flames coming out behind it, so it's kind of like the feathers of a wing. I'm pretty happy with how that fire effect has turned out. That looks like fire, right? Yeah, that looks like fire. Okay, now I just want to do the basing, and for the base I'm using my all-purpose dirt, which is just bicarbonate of soda mixed with ground black peppercorn and coriander seeds and whole poppy seeds. Just cover the base in super glue I should probably give one of those safety warnings here and say when using super glue in this kind of level to make sure you're in a well ventilated area, you know, that kind of thing. I mean, I assume you're not an idiot. The bicarb just gives fine granules like sand, and then obviously the other particles give larger pieces of, you know, debris and stone and so on. I just want to throw on a few more poppy seeds. So my army, the Ironbone Lords, their primary colour is purple, so I'm going to be using Imperial Purple from Colourforge to prime the model. First of all, I'm going to give the base a quick coat of earth brown. I always like to start with the base because, well, if you leave the base until last, then you're likely going to get some earthy brown paint on the rest of the model that you just painted really nice. So do the base first. To be honest, I'm not sure this step's entirely necessary because, well, later I will be covering this with lots of blood and gore and stuff, so you probably won't see any of the brown in the end anyway. It's always better to paint it though, just in case you do get some poking through. I think I need a bigger brush actually. Yeah, bigger brush, much better. While I have the brown on the go, I'm just going to give the skeleton and the orc skull a quick coating as well. Then I'm going to give the entire model a quick wash with some watered down black. I just want it to soak right into the recesses and create shadow. Part of the reason I give it the black wash all over, including up on like the flames that's definitely going to get painted over, well, quite often I find that paint doesn't always stick to the primer. Even though it's primer that's designed for, you know, modelling paints to work with, when you give it a quick wash all over with a watered down paint, it just gives that little bit of texture, that little bit of grip, so then other paints go over the top really smoothly and stick to the model. Now I've got the dark base down, I'm going to highlight up from alien purple to royal purple to fluorescent magenta. The fluorescent magenta, that's just to make it pop. I think the alien purple is now discontinued, but you get the idea. Highlight up through different colours. And for that I'm going to be sponging, so I just got makeup sponge, just dampened it first and allowed it to dry for a bit. Dab it in the paint, rub it off like you would as if you're dry brushing, and then just stick it straight on. I don't think the camera's really picking it up, but there is a difference in the shade there, and then as you highlight up for the different shades of purple, it gets a nice gradient. So that's the purple done. As you can see, it's been highlighted to a nice vibrant purple as well, and I've gone around and just reapplied the brown over top of the skulls and so on. I almost forgot, the shoulder pauldrons on my Chaos Space Marines, they're all like a bone white, so I always start off with a brown and build it up to a white as well, and I wanted the same on my Dreadnought or my Helbrute. Anyway, all these little trims I'm going to do a metallic colour because, again, my Chaos Space Marines are called the Ironbone Lords. So you got the bone on the shoulder pauldrons, and then all the trims are all metallic, like iron and bone. You see? Skull on the plasma cannon. I need to do that as well. I think around the edges I'm going to use a dark metallic on the inside and for all the machinery parts. You know, make it really nice and grimy. But these parts, I want them to be nice and shiny. Now I've picked out all the shiny metal, it's time to go in with a darker metal. So I'm going to use rough iron. It's like a dark, bronzy, dirty, rusty kind of colour, which is perfect for a chaotic Helbrute. I was going to dry brush it, but I'm too lazy. You see, I'd have to paint it black first and then dry brush over the top of the black. So instead I'm just painting it directly on. Afterwards I can go back and perhaps dry brush with a more of a silvery colour. I'm not trying to be neat here. I don't want to get it on the areas that I've highlighted up to the magenta, so I'm not being too careful as long as I don't get it up there. There's actually this little detail here, I don't know if it's like a dog tag or something, but I'm going to give that a bit of a brassy colour as well, just while I've got the paint on the go. I'm using the smaller brush just to get into those hard to reach areas. Now I know in the current rules that the Helbrute doesn't actually have a smoke launcher, but you know, I've played 40k long enough to know that rules change, equipment comes in and out, and although the current rules don't have a Helbrute with a smoke launcher, in future rules it may. Also, I just like the look of the smoke launcher on there, especially when it's balanced out against the power scourge. And you know, speaking of rules changes and you know, things being used and then not used and then coming back into being in use and so on, I know there's going to be a lot of people out there that say, hey, that's not an Helbrute, that's a Dreadnought, and Dreadnoughts are not the same as Helbrute. Feel free to leave a comment to tell me how much I suck and don't know anything about 40k. Better still, subscribe so you can continue to tell me how much I suck and don't know anything about 40k. I promise to read every single one of your comments. Looking closer, and I've realised that this thing here seems to be some kind of like extra gun or something, so I'm going to drill out the end of that nozzle too. Here on the top is like a hole, which is where the original Chaos Dreadnought had like a trophy rack or banner pole or something like that. Look at those flames. No banner's going to go there, it just set on fire. So I was thinking, what if I put something else there? Something that would survive being next to the fire. And I was looking at these. Just let me get these. So here I've got a bunch of old plastic models. These were not mine. I stole these from a child many years ago. There are all these old Chaos shields with different patterns on them. They had lots of different designs like skulls and faces, things like that. But as you can see, they're all caked in a thick layer of paint. So I'm going to try and remove that with isopropyl alcohol. Okay, so I soaked them in the isopropyl alcohol, gave them a bit of a scrub with an old toothbrush, and you know, they come up pretty clean. I mean, I had a couple of old miniatures as well that I chucked in the jar at the same time. Look at that guy! How cool is he? No idea what game he came from. Possibly Hero Quest. If you know what this miniature is, then you know, leave a comment, let me know, because I'd love to know. Clearly some kind of sorcerer. Anyway, I've got several shields to select from. And there's this large sword as well at the end missing, and it slots perfectly into that little hole. So I was thinking, if I slot that in there and then I put the shield in place, it's just a question of which shield do I want. So for example, I could go for that one that's got the old Chaos star. Or what about that one with the huge fangs on it? So then it's got like the face down at the bottom and then the face up top. Is that too distracting? And there's this one that's a larger one, an evil devil skull with horns. I think I'm leaning towards that one. I think that suits the look of the classic Dreadnought model. It's not too big, it doesn't detract from the model. You can still see the flames on either side as well. So I think I'm going to quickly paint that up separately and then glue it into place. There's another classic sorcerer. I really like this model. I'm actually thinking of making a Genestealer cult army, and I think this guy might be the perfect model to use as the basis for a Genestealer cult magus, however you say it. This guy could be a cool version of that. I mean, I think you could even change that Crescent Moon emblem into a Tyranid emblem. And does anyone recognise this guy? It's clearly got like an Egyptian theme going on, but I don't recognise this guy at all. Again, if you know who he is, leave a comment, let me know. By the way, I did actually use gloves when I was cleaning them up, but unfortunately I got little holes in the end of the gloves, and the paint and the isopropyl alcohol got in anyway. So I guess I'm going to have dirty looking fingers for a couple of days. For all the bony whitey parts, I'm just going to sort of put a bit of white on in a kind of stippling motion. I'm not really going to worry about it too much if I don't get to the end, you know, to the edges, or if I leave it patchy, because that's kind of the effect I'm wanting anyway. Chaos painted it, remember? It shouldn't be perfect. Also, it's ancient, it's old, it's crumbling. That's the look I want. I'll be going over with a brighter white later. It all kind of blends together afterwards anyway. Now that I've gone around and I've coated all the bone coloured areas with ancient stone, I'm going to go around and I'm going to use a mix of Gorgon hide and Drake tooth. As you can see, it's just a couple of lighter shades to the ancient stone that I've mixed together, but it's still an off-white. Then for the actual bones, I'm just going to use pure white. And again, just going around in a loose stipple. Don't care about being neat, don't care if I get to the edges, don't care if I do get to the edges, I don't care if I go over the edges. It doesn't matter, it's all going to get blended in together as we go. While I've got the white on the go, I'm going to pick out all the little lights and things as well, and then move on to the flames. There's a lot of little lights. I should probably move to a smaller brush for this actually. There we go. So once I've put a little spot of white on all these lights, I can go around and put a little bit of colour over the top and it'll make them really stand out against the rest. Fire is brightest in the centre where it's hottest, and then it gets darker as it fans out from the centre. While the first layer of the yellow dries, I'm going to use some strong tone over the top of all the bone white that I did earlier. And I'm just going on neat with this, I'm not watering it down at all. I gave it a very quick coat with a brush just to make sure I had good coverage, and now I'm going to go in with a sponge just to balance out and make sure that it's the raised areas that are more orange. Normally when you're painting, you kind of want the paint to run into the recesses so that it's darker in the recesses, but with flame it's kind of the opposite. You want it to be brighter in the recesses because that's where it's hottest. Now, personally, I'm not a fan of object source lighting, but if you do like object source lighting, then the overspill that you get naturally from using the sponge, that can add to that effect. For the plasma cannon, I've just painted it white and then I'm using the neon blue. What I'm going to do once the first coat is dried is to go over the raised areas with white again and just sort of give them a highlight, so it looks like it's brighter in the raised areas. There, I think you can just about see in the eyes, I've painted it white, and then on my Chaos Space Marines I give them green eyes. So paint it white first and then go over with fluorescent green paint. There, I think you can see now it's green. And I did the little lights in the exact same way. The couple that's still white, I think I'm going to go around and paint those green as well. Hello, it's just about done now. All I need to do is add a couple of little details. So on the shoulder pauldrons, instead of having like a chapter symbol, an emblem, I give each one has their promise to the dark gods that they'll do dark god Chaos Space Marine stuff, which is basically just making some really little squiggly lines that looks like writing. And then for the base, it's just a mixture of red paint and Mod Podge, and I slather that all over the base so it looks like they're wading through blood, basically. Nice and gory. Oh, there is one other thing. The end of the plasma cannon, I'm going to paint it black at the very end of the muzzle and then go back with blue, purple and red, so it looks like the heat has actually caused the colour to change. There. That's what I was talking about with the end of the plasma cannon. Hello again. It's been a few days for me since I was last working on this. I had to go to work, didn't have much time for doing hobby stuff, blah blah blah. Now I've come back to have a look at it though. The fluorescent colours that I use for the flames, they're really bright. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use some normal yellow instead of the fluorescent yellow. I'm just going to sort of water it down and give it a good wash or a glaze. Hopefully that will just take it down a notch, because that is really bright. I kind of wanted it to be bright. I mean, it's part of that chaos feeling, it's magical fire, but yeah, it's a fine line. As well as the fire, I've also been going around and picking out the little lights, just dab of pure white and then a bit of fluorescent colour over the top. And I've been painting the glowing chamber of the plasma cannon the exact same way. Yeah, that flame's way too bright. I'm also thinking, what if I use a watered down blue instead of yellow? That would still have that magical effect because it would make it all look like green, possibly going into purple. That might look cool, but might also ruin the model. It's worth a try. Gotta be bold. Okay, so let's just try a little bit as a test piece. Okay, the white's not working. Yeah, the pale blue isn't working because of the white that's in there. Okay, let's try a different colour. Let's try colour party paints. Okay, so again, I'll test it down here to start with. That's kind of interesting actually. Not sure if the camera's really picking that up. It's certainly making it look green at the bottom where the yellow is. Yeah, I think if I then go around and touch up the top, this could look quite cool. I hope the camera is picking up the colour. It's really difficult to see on the little view screen there. Adding that little blue wash to it, it's really made it have like an eerie green glow. I really do like that effect. And everything that I was saying earlier about making it brighter in the recesses because that's where it would be hotter, that kind of went out the window because I just kind of painted it how it looked cool in the moment, and I'm glad I did. Don't overthink it, sometimes just go with the flow. Even if logic says otherwise, just paint it how you like it. Don't worry about whether or not it makes sense, just make it look cool for you. And this looks cool to me.